Yeah, Tommy Fury pussied out of the Jake Paul fight again, didn't he? You know, he kind of fucking pussied out again. You know, he's come up with another little excuse, you know, saying that the British embassy are refusing to allow fucking Tommy Fury to go to America. That's what he's saying now, isn't he? Tommy Fury, but he's saying that he went to the airport, but there's no, like, footage of him, you know what I mean? Because there's photos of him a while back, you know, in the airport that people took of him and his little girlfriend, Molly May. So you know him, he's like been on these little silly reality TV programs, you know, Love Island, and he's got a few little million followers. So, you know, if he went to the airport, somebody would have took a photo of him, you know, and uploaded it to the internet, but no one's got any footage of him at the airport, Tommy Fury. So he's lying again, and he just don't want to fight Jake Paul, you know, it's fucking obvious, innit? You know, he's come up with too many excuses, you know, to avoid Jake Paul. You know, first it was he's got a damaged rib, you know, because his brother Tyson Fury was slamming a medicine ball onto his ribs. You know, and now he's saying he can't get into America, you know, because of his links with El Chapahan. But I don't know, it's just happening too many times, isn't it? You know, we know that anyone linked to El Chapahan isn't allowed in America, you know, like Coogan. You know, he wasn't allowed to go to the Katie Taylor-Serrano fight, was he? You know, because of his money laundering links to El Chapahan. But, you know, Umar, IFL Umar, he was allowed to go, wasn't he? You know, which don't really make sense. You know, if Coogan's associated with El Chapahan and he was taking drug money and laundering it, you know, and using that money to pay for flights, you know, so those IFL fuckers can travel the world and stay in fancy hotels. If Coogan's banned, you know, Umar, IFL Umar, and the rest of those IFL fuckers, they should be banned from going to America as well. But Umar's probably going to go to Saudi Arabia, you know, for the Joshua Usyk rematch. But he should be banned as well. I don't think Coogan used that drug money, you know, for IFL. He did, but he didn't declare it. Like, if you look on Coogan's Company's House finance statement, his channel's valued at £22,000. But you know, his channel is worth a lot more than £22,000. You know, my channel, TIFL TV, admittedly, it's not as big as IFL TV, but my channel is worth a lot more than £22,000. So obviously Coogan, he's not declaring the money, is he? You know, to the taxman. So we know that anyone linked to El Chapahan, you know, they're limited, you know, as far as their travel goes. You know, they're being restricted, aren't they? As to where they can and can't go. So this Tommy Fury guy, you know, there's a possibility that he's not allowed into America to fight Jake Paul. But he wasn't really managed by MTK, was he? You know, it was his brother Tyson. So I don't know how he's linked into it, because like, if my brother murdered somebody, it doesn't mean that I've got to go to prison as well, does it? So I think he's using that as an excuse, Tommy Fury, you know, to try and avoid that big right hand from Jake Paul, because, you know, I think most people would have probably backed Jake Paul, you know, to fuck up Tommy Fury. You know, Jake Paul, he's got a big chin on him. And in his fights, he's kind of shown that big chin is kind of, is conditioned, you know, to take a punch. Alright, he hasn't boxed anybody who's like a really good boxer, good puncher. But you can see from that photo there that he's got a big chin, Jake Paul, and I don't think Tommy Fury would have stopped him at all, or even outboxed him. I don't rate Tommy Fury, man. I don't rate him at all. He's just trying to live off his brother's name, innit? He's trying to live off that fucking woman, Molly May. You know what I mean? He's been on them silly little reality TV programs. So now he's trying to box, you know, trying to be like his brother, because Tyson Fury's been getting a lot of praise over the past 10 years, you know, for his boxing achievements. So Tommy Fury, he might feel a bit like inadequate. You know what I mean? It's like Naseem Ahmed and his brother, you know, Naz. You know, his brother's like coming on the scene now, dissing his brother Naz, saying, oh, he's snidey, he's morbidly obese, he's a thief, you know, he tried to rob Brendan, he was disrespectful. You know, Naz's brother, he's coming on the scene now, dissing Naz. And he said that when Naz was like at his prime, Naz's brother said that he didn't have an identity. You know, he said he had an identity crisis because people just known him as Naz's brother. You know, back in the days when Naz was doing well in boxing, his brother, he had a chip on his shoulder, you know, saying he was known as being Naz's brother. He wasn't known for being himself. He didn't really have an identity of his own other than being Naz's brother. And he said he had a chip on his shoulder, so now Naz has probably cut him off financially after giving him handouts for 20 years. Naz has probably fucked him off, so now this brother of Naz's, he's coming on the scene, you know, trying to diss Naz. You know, saying, oh, he's fat, he's fucking a thief. So he's a bit jealous of Naz, isn't he? You know what I mean? And the same could be said with Tommy. He's only known for Tyson and that fucking woman. You know, Tommy Fury is just a little pretty boy, isn't he? A little silly reality TV fucking fake star or whatever. So he's trying to box, but his heart's not in it. He's not that good, is he? You know, he's not impressive at all, is he? And he would have got fucked up by Jake Paul, so he's conveniently pulled out, you know what I mean? You don't want that smoke from Jake Paul, does he? So Jake Paul's now fighting Hasim Rahman Jr., you know, the son of Hasim Rahman who fucked up Lennox Lewis back in the day. You know, Hasim Rahman Sr. used to call Lennox Lewis gay. You know, because Lennox, back in his day, you know, he wasn't really a public guy. He didn't really, you know, show off his women. You know, like some boxers do these days, like Mayweather. You know, these guys like to show off their women, don't they? But you know, Lennox, he just kept himself to himself. He kept his private life, you know, away from the cameras. You know, we didn't really see him with a woman. Now he's married, he's got 2 kids, but, you know, back in the day, he didn't really show off any of his women. So that Hasim Rahman called him gay. And he knocked Lennox out, but Lennox got his revenge, you know, and fucked him up in the rematch. But that's who Jake Paul's fighting, you know, his son. And he's a heavyweight as well, so I think he will be a better opponent than Tommy Fury anyway. So let's have a look at a fight of his, see what we think of him. Yeah, these guys are nobodies, man. They're just fucking trying to get paid a few £100. That guy wanted to go down. He looks like Povetkin, don't he, that guy? So these guys who he's beating up, they're nobodies. You know, they're just going in there just to get paid a few quid, and they just drop, you know, at any opportunity. Look at that little fat fucker. You see what I mean? They're not even really trying. They're just, that's what like journeymen do, innit? They just go there just to get paid a few quid. They don't have any intention of winning. He did get fucked up one time though. Look at that. He like froze. I don't know if he can take a punch or not. You know, Jake Paul, he's got a big right hand on him. I'm surprised this Hasim Rahman Jr. is fighting on these kind of shows, you know, these little dead shows. You know, with a few people in the crowd, a few black people, fighting these little dossers. Because his dad was like a world champion, wasn't he? Knocked out Lennox Lewis, got the rematch. So he probably got paid a few quid. So I think this guy is like trying to live off his dad's name. But yeah, I don't know the incentive, you know, for Jake Paul to fight this guy here, because this guy here, he's like 6'3". I think he's like a heavyweight as well. You know, he's not really a big name either. You know, his dad had a bit of a name, you know, for being a heavyweight world champion and knocking out Lennox Lewis, but that was nearly 20 years ago, do you know what I mean? And even then he wasn't really a big name, was he? Hasim Rahman. So I don't know why Jake Paul's fighting this guy. I don't know the incentive. That's why I feel like they are like little mates, you know, and Jake Paul's doing him a favour. You know, like Mayweather did with that guy in the exhibition. And that's kind of what Mike Tyson said as well. Mike Tyson said, yeah, if you're really my friend, you would fight me and help me get paid and enable me to feed myself and feed my kids So if you're really a friend, you should fight me. So you can kind of see that, can't you? You know, with Mayweather, with his little mate in that exhibition. And I don't know if Jake Paul's mates with this guy in real life, you know, behind the scenes. Because I don't know the incentive, you know, for Jake Paul to fight this guy. He's like a nobody, isn't he? You know, they're saying that footage of them fucking arguing, you know, after sparring is like from years ago, but he might have recorded it recently, you know, to try and build the fight up.
I know when someone's up to something. You want to talk shit to a pro athlete? Because really, I'll come in here and knock your ass out. That's what I really do. You started already talking. I'm going to finish it. I know that man on his name. Now who the beat? I just want to know now who the beat. Because I was a bitch a minute ago. What's up?
Here, take the gloves off. I'd be mad too.
I try to bring that man professional work.
Oh, he fucking wrestle.
I'm going to say this one time real nice. Get that camera on my face, bro.
Because we haven't really seen that clip before, have we? But nah, the fucking fight's on. You know, the footage of them arguing in sparring, you know, it's conveniently appeared on it. So it might have been a recent video, you know, that was snidely recorded, you know, and Jake Paul's pretending it was years ago, but it might just be recent, you know, to try and hype the fight up. You don't know, do you?
I'm gonna say this one time real nice. Get that camera on my face, bro.
You know him saying that, get that camera out my face, bro. You know, he should be grateful, you know, to get that exposure. You know, this guy here, he's a fucking nobody. You know, his dad, he had a bit of success, you know, in boxing 20 years ago, but this guy here, he should be grateful, you know, that Jake Paul is giving him that exposure. Like, listen to this.
You're going to have a slew of interviews coming up tomorrow, the next week, the next several weeks. Life's about to change, I'm sure. Are you surprised at how quickly things are moving?
Man, look, 2 days ago I had 6,000 followers on Instagram. Hold on, let me check real quick. Let me check as of right now.
Oh, shit.
And it's been crazy. It's been so crazy. I got 246,000 followers now. So I got 240,000 followers in like less than 48 hours. It's been bananas. It's been crazy. I appreciate all the love. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So he said he had 6,000 followers on Instagram, about 2 days ago. Now he's got 246,000 followers, you know, on Instagram. You know, in a couple of days since Jake Paul announced that he's his opponent. So it's not even like this guy was a big name, this Hasim Rahman Jr. No one really heard of him, you know what I mean? Even as boxing fans, we've heard of Hasim Rahman Sr., but we didn't even know he had a son. Even though he's had 10 boxing matches or 12, whatever. We didn't even know he had a son. We've never heard of him, have we, really? So he's got 240,000 followers in 2 days on Instagram because of Jake Paul. So he only had 6,000 followers. So I don't know what the incentive was for Jake Paul to choose this guy as an opponent. So I think they're mates. I think they're pally, you know, behind the scenes. And I think Jake Paul's just trying to help this guy out. You know, like Mayweather did with his sparring partner. You know, giving him a few quid to be in that exhibition. You know, Mayweather, he like helped him out, didn't he? You know, he gave him a bit of a beating, didn't he, Mayweather? But that Don Moore, he got paid. You know what I mean? So Mayweather helped him out, didn't he? So that's what Jake Paul might be doing, you know, with this Hasim Rahman Jr. But you know how this guy's dad, Hasim Rahman Sr., tried to like have a go at Lennox Lewis, you know, saying he's gay. You know, trying to diss Lennox, calling him gay. You know, trying to get into his head and trying to fuck him up. Do you think this guy here should call Jake Paul a rapist? You know, because Jake Paul had those little sexual assault accusations put on him. Do you think this guy, Hasim Rahman Jr., should call Jake Paul a rapist and try and diss him and get into his head? I don't think he should, you know. It's a bit of a risk, innit? Because this guy, like he just said, you know, he's got 240,000 followers, you know, in a couple of days on the back of Jake Paul, giving him a bit of hype. And he's probably going to get his career highest payday. Well, he definitely is, isn't he? It's just obvious, isn't it? He boxed about 12 nobodies. So his fight with Jake Paul, he'll get more than his other fights combined. Yeah, Tommy Fury was getting like $2 million or pounds, whatever. I I don't think he'll get it because he's not really a big name. Like Tommy Fury, you know, he's been on those silly reality TV programs. So he's got a load of people following him. But this guy here, he's a nobody. You know, he's just trying to live off his dad, innit? And his dad wasn't even really like a big name back in the days. He's been a bit irrelevant for the past 20 years, hasn't he, his dad? He pulled off that good knockout victory over Lennox Lewis, but that's all he's really known for, isn't it? So I don't think he should really jeopardize his big payday against Jake Paul, you know, by calling him a rapist and getting kicked off the show, you know, and missing out on that money. You know what I mean? He might be fucking broke, I don't know. You know, his dad made a few quid, you know, when he was boxing 20 years ago, but he might have fucked him off financially. Like, you know, Jackie Chan. He said in an interview one time that, you know, the money he's made from his films, Forbes magazine have estimated that he's made about $350 million, you know, from his films. And Jackie Chan said in an interview that he's not giving any money to his son, you know, when he dies. He said he's going to give it to charity instead, you know, because his son is like a druggie. You know, he got locked up for drug possession and he's just a fucking druggie, you know, and a lowlife. So Jackie Chan said if he gives him his money, you know, he'll kill himself. You know, from like overdosing on drugs. So he's not going to donate any money to him. That's what Jackie Chan said anyway. So it could be the same with Hasim Rahman, Senior. He might not be willing to give his son any money. We don't know the ins and outs of their relationship. But his dad might have fucked him off financially. I don't know. It's like Nassim Hamed, you know, and his brother. You know, his brother, Nassim, cut him off financially, you know, after 20 years of giving him handouts. So now the brother's on the scene, you know, dissing Nas. You know, calling him a fat cunt and saying he's fucking morbidly obese and he's a thief and he robbed Brendan and, you know, he was a cunt to Brendan. That's what Nas's brother's saying now, you know, he's trying to get a Netflix documentary made. You know, on Nas, you know, trying to diss his brother in a documentary on Netflix. That's what he's trying to do in it, Nas's brother. So, you know, Nas cutting him off financially. I don't know. Hasim Rahman Senior might have done that to his son. You know, he might have thought, well, you're on your own now, you know what I mean? You fucking gotta stand on your own 2 feet. You know, like what Nas said to his brother. So this Hasim Rahman Jr. guy, you know, he might be broke. So Jake Paul might be just giving him a lifeline, you know, to help him out of the mud. Because, like, you know, Jake Paul's previous opponents, you know, Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, you know, them guys, they were names, you know, in their sports, in UFC. They were kind of known, weren't they? But, you know, this guy here, he's not really known, you know, to his boxing fans before this fight was announced. So, and he's a real boxer. I don't know what the incentive is. That Nate Robinson, he was like a big name in basketball, so I can kind of see why Jake Paul chose them, you know. But this guy here, I don't know what the incentive is. They might be mates, I don't know. Because, like, you know, Jake Paul as well, he like said this in an interview.
Hasim Rahman is just a straight up boxer. What made you choose him as the opponent and on short notice?
Well, for me, I've just wanted to fight a professional boxer since knocking out Tyron Woodley. And so Hasim Rahman Jr. is a heavyweight. He's bigger than Tommy Fury, stronger than Tommy Fury. His dad was the heavyweight champion of the world. He has more amateur fights than Tommy Fury. So this is a harder fight, in my opinion. I want to challenge myself. I want to show the fans, yo, this kid is, I'm crazy. I'm literally crazy. There is no reason that I should be taking this fight. And my brother said the same thing to me. He's like, bro, I don't know if you should do this. Like, what if he accidentally knocks you out?
Yeah, did you hear that? Logan said, what if he accidentally knocks you out? What do you mean by that? Like, accidentally? Why is it an accident though? You know, if it's like a real fight and he's going in there to knock you out, how would that be an accident? So him saying that, he's kind of like made it seem as though this Hasim Rahman Jr., he's going in there just to play the part, you know, just going in there just to make Jake Paul look good. That's what I mean, like accidentally knocks you out suggests that he's not meant to knock you out. like he's not meant to win, but he just throws a punch and accidentally knocks you out. That's what he's made it seem like there. You know, Jake Paul, he's almost gave the game away there a bit, hasn't he? So they're probably mates in real life, man. He's probably just doing him a favour, innit, Jake Paul, you know, giving him a bit of cash. You know, like Mayweather did with his little mate, you know, in that little exhibition. But yeah, I'd rather see Jake Paul fuck up Tommy Fury, to be honest with you. I was looking forward to it, but you know, Tommy Fury is just trying to come up with any excuse, you know, to avoid Jake Paul. But yeah, they're both doing well sexually on this, so you have to give him a bit of credit in it. But I think Jake Paul, I think he would have fucked up Tommy Fury, you know, in a boxing match. So I wanted to see it, but it's not going to happen now, is it, realistically? It's dragging on. It's getting a bit boring, innit? So, yeah, we move on, you know, to Hasim Rahman Jr., you know, and see what happens there. But yeah, that will do, you know. Thanks for watching, yeah. Thanks for that.